When I look back on about 13 years of coaching, I can conclusively say that stronger runners are better runners. And in this video, I want to share some of the most effective ways to get stronger and ways that are going to be very specific to your running. In other words, it's going to directly impact your race performances. But we're not just going to talk about strength building in the weight room. Yes, that's effective, but let's talk about some other avenues for building strength that are effective and specific to the sport. Now, let me first start by saying, if you're like me, if you're skinny, if you are naturally thin and you have a more stereotypical runner's build, you need more strength. It is going to help you a lot better than someone who has previously been in a sport that required more strength. So if you were formerly a team sport athlete, if you do a lot of weightlifting already, this is not going to be as dramatically beneficial for you. For folks like me though, it makes an enormous difference. So if that's you, if you're someone who's naturally thin and you probably do need a little bit more muscle mass and strength, this video is going to be for you. All right, let's start with the obvious, most effective way of getting stronger. That's lifting weights in the gym. This should be obvious to everyone, right? If you want to become stronger, we need to lift heavy weights. Just like if you want to build a lot of running endurance, you need to run a lot. So if you want to get stronger, the best way is to simply lift heavy weight. Now, there's a lot of ways that runners lift weights that are a little bit counterproductive to actually getting stronger. So if you go to a lot of classes at a gym, there's probably a heavy metabolic component to those workouts. You don't really need to challenge your metabolic fitness because you already do enough of that with your running. You're already doing a ton of cardiovascular exercise. We simply don't really need to stress that system anymore when we're in the gym. Instead, we need to be stressing our strength. We need to be, just like when we're out on the race course, we try to run faster, and that's how we gauge our progress. In the weight room, we need to do something very similar. We need to lift heavier and heavier weights, and that's a good proxy for our progress. So if you're not already in the gym twice a week lifting weights, let's get started as soon as possible. Your running is going to get a lot better with regular weightlifting. All right, let's talk about a more fun way of getting stronger. Yes, we all know weightlifting builds strength, but we can actually get a lot stronger by running high mileage. By running high mileage, you are forcing your body to deal with an ever-growing workload. That volume is going to prompt these adaptations that are going to make you stronger. Your connective tissues have to be hardier and more resilient. Your muscles need to be capable of producing force for much longer periods of time. It is an indirect way of getting stronger, but it is an effective way of getting stronger. You show me any runner who's running 70, 80, 90, 100 miles a week, they're going to be strong just because of the high volume of running that they're doing. Now, you don't have to run 100 miles a week to get stronger, but the principle still holds. More mileage equals more strength. Now, the key is to do this in a way where you don't get injured, because running high mileage is a little bit risky when it comes to running injuries. But the key is that it's actually in the process of building mileage that's more risky. So if you're someone who's a little bit more injury prone and you always seem to get hurt when you're building that extra mileage, here's a couple ways to do it safely. Number one, look up my video, Baseline Running Mileage. It's a better way to increase your mileage. It's a more nuanced take on the 10% rule. Let's try to add mileage slowly, maybe 5 to 10% every 2 weeks. Take a cutback week every 4 to 6 weeks, and make sure you're supplementing with strength training to make this process more manageable over time. But if you make running more miles overall a goal of yours, you are going to become a much stronger runner. And finally, one more tip to make this a little bit easier for you. It can be hard to focus on weekly mileage because it's a short time period and it's hard to jam in a lot of miles and get maybe a weekly mileage PR if you're focusing on weekly mileage. However, if you focus on monthly mileage, now you have more time to work with, and if you go back in your running log, you actually might be surprised at how easy it is for you to set a monthly mileage record. This is a more long-term view of your training, but I think it's a more effective way at building mileage because it's safer. This is something that we focus on much more strongly in the performance training journal that you can find on Amazon. There's a big reason why we track monthly mileage in that journal. It's a nice way of focusing on mileage while also getting you to think a little bit more long-term. I could not make these videos without your support. So first, let me say thank you. And this video is brought to you by our very own performance training journal. I have always been in love with hard copy training journals for a few really good reasons. Number one, when I was a new runner and I started keeping an actual training journal like this, I learned so much more about the sport and myself just by that practice. It really forces you to reflect on your training, to think more deeply about what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And if you are constantly reflecting on your training, praising yourself for what's going right, planning for the future, and then looking back on what has previously worked for you, you are gonna really know yourself as a runner, and you're gonna start to make wiser decisions about your training. I also created this training journal because I want you to focus on the training metrics that actually matter. The training metrics that help you improve, get better, and progress with your running. We don't have to focus on everything. We just need to focus on what matters. I also took a lot of inspiration from professional runners that I've talked to on the Strength Running podcast. They're adamant by completing a training journal and reflecting on what works for you and actually giving yourself some praise within your journal. You're essentially completing a gratitude journal. You are building up your confidence in your own abilities over time. And when you look back on that journal before a big goal race, you are going to be reading in your own words why you're capable, why you can do this. And I can think of nothing more confidence building than an act like that. So I hope you check out the new performance training journal. It is now available on Amazon. It debuted as the #4 new release in the running category, and I could not be more proud of it. So thank you again for subscribing to the Strength Running YouTube channel, and I hope you enjoy the performance training journal. Next, I want you to get fast. Fast runners are strong runners. If we think about it, what is speed? Speed is simply force production. If you can run really fast, whether that's a fast mile time, 5K time, let's focus on the middle distances for this example. You are strong. You are capable of producing a lot of muscular contractions that are forceful, and you could do it for a fair amount of time or distance. So if you could just work on getting faster, you are going to be getting stronger. So let's put all of this together. Let's put the weightlifting, the high mileage, and the speed work all in one system so that you know you're getting stronger effectively and safely over time. So first things first, let's just lift weights twice a week. That's all you have to do. Let's try to gradually increase the weight that we're lifting over time. You can use our program like High Performance Lifting if you want a periodized, progressive, running specific approach to building power in the weight room, but you don't necessarily need to use our program. You can do this by yourself. If you're lifting twice a week and you're also doing some more body weight strength and core work during the other days that you're running, this is a little bit more for injury prevention. This is going to keep you healthy while you're trying to run higher mileage. And you are gradually running a little bit more every couple weeks, and you are doing this regularly throughout the year so that every year you are capable of a slightly higher peak mileage level every single training cycle. So if you're doing that, you're lifting the weights regularly, you're trying to lift heavier weight gradually over time, you're gradually running a little bit more every single week over time, and we are working on getting fast in short distances. We are focusing on our mile, our 2 mile or 3K, our 5K race times. If you're improving in those distances, you are improving your rate of force production or your maximum force production, especially the shorter those races go. Here we are in this environment of increasing speed, endurance, and strength. Oh, as a coach, I'm just getting excited thinking about it. This is the environment in which runners get really strong and get really fast. So if you're a runner who maybe needs to build a little bit more strength into your running program, I hope this video is helpful at getting you to conceptualize all the different ways in which you can become a stronger runner. And of course, if you work on all of them at the same time, you're gonna be a much stronger runner than your average runner. So good luck out there. If you need any help or resources, go to strengthrunning.com/strength and get our free course on how you can become a stronger runner. We're gonna talk a little bit more about strength training and the more specific ways that you can lift weights that are specific to the sport of running.